showing Erika Kirk, widow of slain conservative leader Charlie Kirk, embracing U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance at a public event.
Charlie Kirk's widow in tears. Erika Kirk sits down for her first TV interview since her husband's assassination 8 weeks ago.
When Erika Kirk finally sat down for her latest interview, no one could have predicted the statement that would turn everything upside down. It wasn't a scandalous accusation. It wasn't a secret revealed with fanfare. It was just one line, one sentence, and yet it carried the weight of 1,000 untold stories. Healing begins when you stop pretending. A simple sentence, almost casual, but the resonance was immense. Behind her polished smile, behind the perfect public image the world had adored, a truth hung in the air. And for those paying attention, it changed everything. From the outside, Erika and Charlie Kirk were the golden couple. Faithful, driven, united. The embodiment of the power couple fantasy. But Erika's words forced people to look closer, and what they saw was different. When Erika stepped in as leader of TPUSA, insiders noticed the change immediately. The energy shifted. She started bringing in total unknowns. No social media footprint, no LinkedIn, no record of them anywhere. People joked, half-joked, that they were spooks. But in that office, it didn't feel like a joke. The deeper people dug, the creepier it got. Erika's family connections are intense. Her mother tied to Israeli defense systems. Her father literally wrote the book on integrating private companies into intelligence operations. And Erika, she dropped hints. Casual, like it was nothing. Statements like, if I want to know something about someone, I can have it by morning. MI5 doesn't sleep, and then she smiled. That smile wasn't joking. Everyone knew it. The office went quiet. Slack channels died. People stopped saying what they were thinking. And through it all, Erika moved with an uncanny calm, like she always knew more than she let on. But while her professional aura gave her power, her personal life told another story. Behind the perfect couple facade, cracks were visible if you knew where to look. And now, after Erika's confession, those cracks became a canyon. She spoke about grief, about loss, about her late husband, but not like the world expected. There were cameras all over him. All over my friends and family, she said, matter of fact. Cameras at the memorial, cameras at the casket, every private moment recorded. And yet, Erika didn't recoil. She didn't hide. She acknowledged it. And in doing so, she controlled it. It wasn't just surveillance that made her story fascinating. It was the peace in her demeanor, the composure, the controlled tears that finally appeared on camera. Tears that made viewers wonder, are these real or calculated? Some thought genuine. Others joked about acting. But if you rewind, look at the timeline of Erika's words. Every glance, every subtle hint, everything starts to make sense. From afar, Erika and Charlie Kirk appeared to be the perfect couple, the embodiment of unity, success, and shared purpose. Their public image suggested harmony and closeness, a relationship admired and envied by many. Yet, beneath the surface, Erika's own reflections reveal a different reality, one hidden from the world's gaze. Loneliness had been a constant companion long before tragedy struck, a quiet isolation that grew in the shadows of expectations and appearances. Her experiences hint at a life lived in emotional distance, a subtle but persistent solitude that shaped her interactions and perspective. This long-term solitude forced her to seek comfort and understanding in ways the public could not see. Over time, connections were formed in unexpected places, bonds that offered solace where familiarity and affection were lacking. In hindsight, what seemed like composure and grace was also the result of navigating years of quiet, personal resilience. And then the whispers started. Old footage, old photos, the way Erika interacted with certain public figures, the subtle smiles, the lingering glances, not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. A bond existed before tragedy, and the public for years didn't see it. Erika's sentence, "Healing begins when you stop pretending," suddenly cast a new light on every image, every glance, every moment once overlooked. When Charlie died, the world expected Erika to retreat, to grieve in private, to vanish. But she didn't. She returned calm, composed, serene, and always with one particular man. Someone long present, long overlooked, who had shared that silent understanding with her for years. Every glance between them, every protective gesture, spoke of a bond cultivated long before tragedy. And the silence of Charlie's parents? It spoke volumes too. When the world screams for statements, interviews, social media posts, they stayed quiet. Weeks, months, no appearances, no tribute speeches, nothing. At first, people assumed grief, but time passed and their absence became deliberate. Perhaps they disagreed with how the story was unfolding. Perhaps they sought to protect the truth, or simply preserve dignity in a world addicted to spectacle. Erika's confession, her pre-existing connections, the quiet distance of Charlie's family. Suddenly the picture emerges, and it's not what the public expected. This isn't a story about betrayal or scandal. Not exactly. It's a story about image, expectation, and hidden realities. From the outside, Erika and Charlie Kirk were admired as the perfect couple. They seemed inseparable, devoted, and aligned in purpose. But the reality, as Erika's words reveal, was far more complex. The perfection everyone saw existed only in public. Behind closed doors, the narrative was already being rewritten, shaped by loneliness, careful preparation, and subtle connections that no one outside could recognize. The most revealing moment came when Erika finally spoke. Her words, simple yet loaded with meaning, forced the world to pause. She introduced Vice President J.D. Vance, and in that moment said, "No one can replace my husband." Soft, almost casual words, yet the echoes were immediate and intense. Social media erupted. Some interpreted it as a heartfelt tribute, while others sensed a deeper, hidden message. Layers of meaning in what she chose to say and what she chose not to say. She continued, noting that she felt fortunate to introduce Vance because he understood the fight they were facing in ways she sometimes could not. The comment was ambiguous, and that ambiguity became the center of the story. Was it genuine admiration, a strategic choice, or a subtle signal about unseen dynamics? The internet responded in real time. "This is unusual. If I were her husband, what is she really saying?" As observers revisited old footage and photographs, a clearer pattern began to emerge. Erika's loneliness was not born from tragedy alone. It had existed long before the loss, quietly persistent, shaping her emotions, her decisions, and her need for connection outside the public eye. What the world once assumed was perfect was far more nuanced, layered, and quietly complex than anyone could have imagined. Small moments suddenly carried monumental weight. The glances, the smiles, the subtle distance in conversations. Every I instead of we took on meaning. Emotional isolation isn't a single event. It grows silently, unnoticed, until it shapes a person's world. And when someone lives in that silence long enough, they seek connection elsewhere. And sometimes that connection is precisely what the public never expects. It wasn't born of tragedy. It wasn't coincidence. It was a bond years in the making, finally revealed. And the public, for the first time, saw her not as a widow, but as someone who had always been more than what was shown. Erika's controlled calm, her poised demeanor, her subtle smiles at the memorial, it all made people uneasy. The loss didn't break her, or maybe she had already broken long before, in private. And when the public watched, they saw serenity. But those who looked closer saw preparation. "Sometimes peace doesn't come from answers," she once said. "It comes from accepting that some things will never be explained." Philosophical words? Perhaps. But in this context, a puzzle piece. A hint that she had long known, long prepared, long accepted what the world only now began to witness. The internet split. One side praised strength, the other felt something off. No one emerges so composed from real grief, unless it's been carried long before anyone knew. The photos, the glances, the statements, the silence, the subtle connections. Piece by piece, the truth emerges. Erika's confession wasn't just about Charlie. It was about the life she's living now, about the bonds that existed before, about the reality behind the image. The story the world watched for years, perfect, polished, untouchable, is no longer the story Erika is living. So, the question remains, has Erika told her truth, or is this just the prelude to another chapter? And Charlie's parents, are they protecting him or the story? The story of Erika Kirk has just begun. The world will be watching every word, every glance, every silence that follows. Behind every smile, there is always something left unsaid. If you want to stay on top of every update, every revelation, and every untold detail, Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what happens next.